Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith and you're watching another video here on the channel. You've seen the title and the thumbnail. We're talking about my 2023 reading resolutions. So I do these every year. I set some goals. Last year I did a lot of planning and thinking. I think I had things like wanted to do 6 sewing projects in a year and such. I haven't looked back at that video. Well, that's a lie. I had looked back at that video and I don't think I want to talk about it. I normally do like a little reacting to my past resolutions. Did I succeed? Did I fail? I actually think one of the big things I learned this year is that I'm bad at setting goals for myself, in that I either make them way too vague and so they're hard to hit because what does that even mean? What is this? Or I make them drastically unachievable with the fact that I also work a 40-hour work week, and there's no way I can do that. So this year a lot of my resolutions are to do with fun things I want to do, or to do with ways of making myself actually do less rather than more. But I'm really excited to tell you all about these things, and maybe next year I will look back on this with a little bit more grace than current years looking back on 2021, Judith setting goals for the year. So let's start with the easy ones, the big ones, the numbered ones. My reading goal has been the same for I think the last 3 years now. I've had my goal at 200 books. I smash that most years, I will say. It is not a difficult thing for me to hit, especially because at the moment I count a lot of small things in that goal. I'm not ashamed of that. The reading goal is not a competition. It is just a way for me to keep track of the things I've read and to rate them. I love to have it on 200 because it is enough that it motivates me to keep reading, particularly early in the year when often I have quite a bit of trouble getting momentum again, but it is not the kind of thing that takes over my whole life and I feel like I'm falling behind. I just find this is a number that works for me. I think I probably could up it to 250 if I wanted to and it would be achievable, but I actually really like having a bar that is a height that I know I can hit. I did also implement my first time ever last year. I had a pages read goal, which does include things like audiobooks, but just in terms of being able to include those smaller things, I found it really helpful to also track pages because I would know if I was only reading really short things or if I was reading a mixture of the two. I just found that really helpful. I wasn't sure how many pages I read the previous year because if you remember, I didn't keep track of anything. But this year I have read 98,927 pages. I have set my pages goal at 100,000 pages. I don't know that that will go across the 200 books. I don't think the two of them match up particularly well, but it just really gives me a chance to dig into some longer things. I've got a lot of series I want to read next year that are a bit chunkier, and I would like to up my pages read but keep my books read about the same. Does that make sense? I'm also the kind of person where I need a few years of data to be able to set goals, so I need a couple more years of knowing what my average pages read are before I can start going, do I want to increase or decrease that? So 100,000 is just a bit of a guess. Then I have one other goal, which is I would really like to start using the library a bit more next year. I have been a person who used to use the library all the time back when I used to work opposite a library, which was very helpful. And since moving here, I haven't used it. I think I've used it once, and that's really disappointing to me. I should be reading from the library a bit more and using this resource that we have. Oxfordshire libraries are really, really great, and I would like to invest a bit more time. And also now that my gym is on that side of town, I do actually go over to the library reasonably frequently. So it's not impossible, nor is it, as much of a chore as it perhaps was in the past. So yeah, I would like to get back into using the library, and I've set myself a modest goal of reading 1 book from the library every month, or indeed 12 books over the course of the year, because some months I'm not going to manage to hit that. And I'm also going to say that I'm going to include ebook loans from our library system, basically just books that I am not paying for unless I have to request them in from another library, which is a charge, but that's fine. I would just like to get 1 a month or 12 across the whole year. I'm willing to do it that way, and I think it would be good for me to start expanding my use of the library system and maybe just using it to read some more of the backlist titles that at the moment I've just been buying and I don't really want to buy them anymore. In terms of YouTube goals, in terms of subscriber goals, I'm not setting them. I don't typically. I do have a number that I'd really like to hit by the end of 2023, but I'm not going to be upset with myself if I don't hit it, because usually if I have fallen off the trajectory of going up, it's because I've been way too busy or way too stressed, or something has happened that has meant I can't post videos. So I'm not going to tell myself that I failed if I take time out for myself. It's fine. I do have a few series I would like to get on with. I'd really like to finish at least the bulk of Overbooked next year. I'm gonna have to do catch-up videos, but I'd like to get to the end of basically Z in the alphabet by next year. I think that would be very doable, or by the end of next year, I should say. That is manageable based on how I've scheduled it, but I think it needs to happen. I want to finish Animorphs next year. That is a goal. That is a goal I don't know if I'm going to hit, to be perfectly honest. I need to, but I don't know if I'm going to, so we'll see. I'm trying to be gracious with myself and my ability to care about a project that has taken up like 4 years of my life at this point, I think 3 and a bit, and also challenge myself to finish it because, we're this far in, it should be doable. So yes, we've got, I think, 12 more videos to film. and books to read and such, so it might be manageable. We'll see where we get to. We'll reflect on it at the end of the year. I would really like to dedicate myself to longer video projects in 2023. That's a big thing I've been thinking about as I reflect on the kind of content I like to make. I think I like either little quick review videos, like I've got to review Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I'm excited to review it. Rapid fire reviews have been a really enjoyable thing for me to make. They've meant that I've actually talked about some of the new releases I've been reading rather than just offhandedly mentioning them one time. I'd like to keep up with that. And then the other content that I really like to make is much longer, thought out, extended projects such as my Brandon Sanderson project that I'm really enjoying. It's going to be one video, but it will have taken me about 6 months by the time it's done. And I'd like to be able to dedicate more time to doing that kind of thing. And part of that has been, I say giving up the Thursday video. This is the thing, I haven't really. I've almost always had one to post. It's usually just been a review video rather than like a list or a here's my thoughts on this kind of genre kind of more talkative video. And I think being able to continue in that vein and just like accepting that even though review videos don't perform as well, I can still have a good time posting them and still make content, and then put my mental energy and my creative energy into those bigger things will be really, really enjoyable. So I have a few of those planned out. I'm working on 2 of them right now, and I'm genuinely having a very good time with it, and I think it's going to be fun to edit the footage into something and make it all work. I'm looking forward to it. So expect some bigger, not necessarily in length, but bigger in scope projects for next year. I am not committing to sewing projects next year. There will be no sewing projects on the channel unless I come up with something very fun and decide that I really, really want to do it. Because I realised in the past year, this is a reflection on last year's targets, I don't like to film sewing. I just like to do sewing. I like to get into the zone and just do it. And filming it really ruins that experience for me. So hey, we learned a lesson from last year. We learned it. The other thing I'm implementing, as you will know if you've been following me for a while, I have a big spreadsheet because I'm a person where I love to have a list, and I actually really find that I need a list. So I plan out all of my reading in advance. My TBR, I plan when I'm going to read it, what week I'm going to read it in. It's going to be great. And I appreciate for some people that sounds absolutely nightmarish, but for me, I really like taking that burden of decision making off myself. I find that really helps free up my brain for other things. And next year, one of the things I've done is I've implemented rest weeks every 3 weeks. Now, practically what that means is that I'm trying to not put tasks into those weeks. I think what that will actually mean is that those weeks are catch-up weeks where I fall behind in the previous 2 weeks, but I actually think that's going to be really helpful because at the moment, when something goes wrong, when I have a few weeks of burnout like I've been having recently, everything snowballs, and suddenly I have a day where I have to film 8 videos. Today is one of those days, and having a week where I intentionally plan less into it will free me up to do things like sewing, which I haven't done in months because I've been way too busy. Will free me up to catch up on things. It will free me up to take time out and go and see friends where I don't then have to reschedule my whole filming life around that. It'll just be blissful. I can't decide if that means I'm not going to film weekly reading videos in those weeks. At the moment, I haven't scheduled those videos in. So what I'll probably do in that instance is do what I do at the moment, which is combine 2 weeks into one, because often that's just easiest. And I think it's going to be really good for my brain. I feel like it's going to be great. I'm also going to take August off as I usually do. We'll see how we go. I think I'm probably going to include this in a stats video in the future if I make that. I keep promising to. I don't know if it's going to happen. I would like to reduce my series tracker, as in the number of books left in series that I still have to read, by a chunk. I haven't decided what that chunk is going to be, but shall we just say maybe make it less than it is at the start of the year? But I need to assess where it is at the start of the year before I do that. So future Judith will have thoughts on this, I'm sure. If I were to summarise my goals for 2023, it would be to prioritise my well-being and my creative... what's the word? Like my creative my creative force, my creative energy. I want to fuel that, not completely draw it all out and be completely burned out by the end of the year. That's the goal. I would like to stay sane in 2023. That's the tagline. Are you setting goals for 2023? What are your opinions on New Year's resolutions, on reading resolutions, all of the above? I would love to hear them down in the comments below. Are you setting anything? What are you prioritising for the year? Please, please tell me. While you're down there commenting, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated. You can also follow me on social media. Come hang out on Discord where we have chill chats about books. I'd like to say a enormous, huge, whopping great thank you to all of my ghosts who haunt me over on Patreon. In return, they get early access to videos, bonus content, and live streams. If you would like to join their number, that's linked below as well. Thank you so much for watching. That's all from me, and I will see you in the next one. There's gonna be some bloopers now. I've been filming for a while and my legs have fallen asleep. So let's do the easy ones first. I have 2 reading-based goals, or kind of, well, I suppose I have 4. No, 3. Well, yeah.